Welcome. I am Emily Frankowski. I am the secretary for the Missouri Citizens for the Arts, and my home is Joplin, Missouri, where I am the director of Connect to Culture. Thanks so much for being here. This is our statewide advocacy training for Missouri Arts Advocacy Week. It used to be known as Citizens Day at the legislature. Obviously, we are all virtual during this time, and we've taken it in stride. Missouri Arts Advocacy Week is February 1st through 5th. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping before we start. I just want to let you all know that there will be a Q&A live at the end of this training. If you have something that comes up in your head, a question, feel free to put it in the chat, and rest assured that it will just come to the hosts, so it won't distract anyone during the meeting. But we know how it's really important to get that thought to pen and paper or chat box so that you don't forget it. So feel free to use the chat and we will answer those first come, first serve at the end. And or you can also use the raise hand tool at the end during the Q&A and we can call on you live. I also want to let you know that you can please keep yourself muted throughout the training until we get to the Q&A. You're welcome to use your video if you'd like, but you don't have to. We're also recording this live to the cloud as well as live on Facebook right now. So if you know someone who's missing this training but would like to see it later, feel free to direct them to our Facebook, and then eventually we'll get that on our YouTube page as well. Without further ado, I think I'm going to hand it over to Allison Schreiber, who is our president. And let me unpin myself and mute myself. And pin Allison and unmute her.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Emily. I just want to welcome everyone to this very different kind of lobby week. And I want to thank the committee and everyone, our committee of Emily, Evie, and Marie. And I want to thank Caitlin and Kaina, our lobbyists, for putting this together. And I want to also welcome you on behalf of our board, which we are run by the board. And then I also would like to thank our sponsors and on behalf, just thank them so much because of the different type of week that we had to put together. So thank you very much to them. And Missouri Citizens for Arts is just a nonpartisan, well, not just, but it's a nonpartisan statewide grassroots organization that advocates to secure stable financial support for the arts, which benefit Missouri and its citizens and your community. And we are a 501c4. So anyway, this will help us to secure a stable and growing base of public financial support for the arts. And we support, our group, our membership includes nonprofit arts organizations, individuals, businesses, and corporate sponsorships. And we are governed by the board of directors that you saw there earlier. And most importantly, or one of our very important components is we have a legislative consultant, Kaina Iman, who does a great job. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kaina now.
All right, thanks, Allison. Well, it's great to see everybody. I see some familiar faces that have joined me at the Capitol in years past. It's good to see you guys joining us. And I wish this was coming live to you from the Capitol, but I'm here virtually. So we're gonna run through some slides to help you get prepared for a whole new virtual arts advocacy environment. So Emily, take it away. So first question I'm sure everyone asks you is, why should I get involved? Well, as you know, we've been fighting for a long time to protect the arts industry in the state of Missouri, and everything could be lost seriously with just one vote. And I have seen things change with one vote. So that's why we're asking you to get involved. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the legislative process to hopefully make it a more friendly environment for you to engage in. So this is a slide, if you missed that how a bill becomes law on Schoolhouse Rock back in 3rd grade. You can refresh yourself with this one, but I don't really want you to get too deep in the weeds, because then that would do away with my job of telling you when it's the right time to write the right person. And if you're getting Missouri Citizens for the Arts action alerts, then you'll understand the process very clearly. So, Emily, the legislature is made up of 163 House members. I don't expect you to know all of them. I'm still trying to get to learn about 50 of the new ones that were just elected in November. But out of that, we have 115 Republicans, 48 are Democrats, and it takes 82 votes to pass a bill. So you only really have to know 82 of them really well to get them to vote for your stuff. Just kidding. 34 Senate members. In this last election, it didn't change. It was 24 Republicans and 10 Democrats. And in the Senate, it still takes 18 votes to pass a bill in the Senate. So Governor Parson was reelected as our governor. So all 3 chambers are Republican. So next. So you may be asking, how do we shape this process? It's through advocacy or lobbying. And a lot of people think lobbying is a bad word. Well, it's not. It is your First Amendment right. And your legislators really want to hear from you because you're the expert. Legislators can't be experts on everything. So they really rely on you to stand up for issues that affect you and the arts in Missouri. And I get this question a lot, can 501c3s advocate? And yes, you can, as long as you're not doing it 100% of the time. So some of the ways you can effectively advocate is be informed. These are just good business models, nothing rocket science. It's be polite. It is helpful if you have a specific legislation number. For example, we always advocate for the budget for the Missouri Arts Council. And just for your information, that is actually in House Bill 12, if you want to make a note of that. And just making it personal and explaining how funding for the Arts Council really affects you and your organization is so important. We do require you to be very specific in your ask, because as a lobbyist that have seen people tell my clients, say, oh, I love the arts, that's great. But when you say, will you vote for an increase of X dollars for the Missouri Arts Council? That's what I mean by having a specific ask, and be a closer and don't give up until they give you that answer, yes or no. And then follow up and remain in contact with them. So speaking of ask, I know this is a lot to read. And so I just want to make sure that you know that MCA has this on our website. We also have it on our toolkit that Caitlin's going to share with you later in the slideshow. But this has been our legislative agenda for as long as I've been lobbying for you, which has been a lot longer than some of you guys are alive, I'm sure. So we are going to request our full funding of 60% of the income tax on professional non-resident athletes and entertainers in Missouri. And thank God the Chiefs won again last night on home turf, because that brings in more taxpayer dollars from the Buffalo Bills that were playing in Kansas City last night. There have been, as you know, a lot of concerts canceled, which will drop that amount that we normally receive in the income tax from professional entertainers. But I want you to know, as of December 30th, we received a letter from Department of Revenue, and over $26 million has come into the state just for half of this fiscal year. So we are still ahead, and by statute, we're supposed to get 18 million of that money, or 60%. And our cultural partners receive 10% each for them. As you know, last year we received 4.8 million in the trust fund. That is what Missouri Arts Council is currently funding to support 500 organizations. And so going forward, this will be your #1 agenda item to ask for when you're speaking with your legislators. We also advocate for the Missouri Fine Arts Academy. We're asking for $500,000 to fund that for the June of 2022 Academy. This was zeroed out last year, as you know, because of COVID, they had to cancel that. So just stay tuned on that appropriation. And then we always partner with Missouri Alliance for Arts Education in lobbying the State Board of Education to support comprehensive fine arts instruction in our schools. And we also from time to time have capital improvement projects that we've requested. So that's the advocacy agenda for MCA. So how do you reach your legislator? So you have to do a little homework beforehand. This is a quick voter lookup website. You can either go to the Secretary of State, the House, or the Senate state websites and find out who your legislators are. I'm not asking you to be a stalker, but it does help if you've done a little research before you reach out to them and find out, you know, simple things like, do they have a Facebook page, which most of them do. Most of them have a Twitter account. They have, you know, received certain awards. Are they a member of like the Farm Bureau or the First Christian Church, or what committees do they serve on? All these things will give you a little bit of background information, which I think if you're in marketing and any type of sales and you're trying to sell your product, it always helps to know who you're selling to, right? So ask yourself, what do I have to do to help pass this legislation and when? And just do a little homework on your own. Okay. And like I said earlier, you're the expert. The members and the staff meet so many people, and don't forget the members and the staff. Their staff are very important. And if you know them, they are the gateway to getting you meetings with the legislators. So, you know, let them know what's happening in your district. And definitely sign up for MCA action alerts. Because like I said, it's not always that you have to write everybody. It's just who your state rep is. And if they're on a certain committee, then it's very important that you reach out and get them the information. And just a word of advice, never make up an answer, because karma's a bitch in that building and it will come back to bite you. So tell them you'll get back with them. And then how do I make contact? Well, this has changed a little, and we probably need to update the slide. Instead of writing a letter, you can send an email. Instead of making a phone call, you can send a text. Always, it's the best to do a face-to-face meeting. But as you know, in this COVID day and age, we're doing a lot of Zoom or conference calls. And those are okay too. A lot of legislators are doing those. So it really, I wish I could tell you one size fits all, but it doesn't. There's 197 legislators, and they're all going to have different ways that they want to be contacted. So just reach out to them, leave them a business card, or send them your contact information, and make sure that you are their resource for them when it comes to arts funding. So the next slide is just be ready with a response. A lot of them will ask you, well, don't you think that public funds are going to make you, you know, more despondent? And as you know, that how state funds assist your organization, that you're going to have, like I said, a different answer on this one for depending on who you're speaking with. So kind of find what that hot button is with the legislator. Do they like economic development? Do they like arts education? Just find what's going to be in their wheelhouse when you're talking to them. And then the next is to maintain a relationship. Get the next. And make sure you keep that relationship and stay in contact with them. We're going to show you, MCA had this program a while back, and we're bringing it back, Adopt a Legislator, where you can sign up to be our key contact. So when we need someone to reach out to, say, Speaker Vescovo, that we have someone that already has made contact with that person. Don't forget to send thank you notes. I really do believe this makes a huge difference with legislators. They're constantly getting asked to do things, but they don't get a lot of credit when credit is due. So make sure you maintain that relationship. So many of you might ask, do these efforts really make any difference? And yes, they do. We need your voice, we need your persistence, and we need your advocacy. If you're not going to do it, you have to ask yourself, who is? So please step up and be a part of our resources and our help in our advocacy efforts. And I really hope to see you again soon in the future, face to face. But if not, I'm always here to help you guys. And I am in the Capitol with my mask on. And so if you ever have any questions or have problems getting in touch with your legislators, just reach out to me and I'll go sit on them until they call you back and be happy to help with those connections. So here's some of our resources. I'd add MCA to this list. They're a great resource as well for community arts. But if there are any questions, I'll answer them at the end of our little training session. With that, I'm going to kick it back to Marie Hunter, who is going to talk to you about some of these programs.
Thanks, Kaina, so much. And thanks everyone for being here. We're really glad to see so many people. Can you go back one? Yeah, thanks, Emily. So we're going to show you the Adopt a Legislator sign up here in just a bit. We're really thrilled about this. Some of you that have been around for a while, like me and Wally and Sue and several other people I saw coming in, Teresa, will remember this from years ago. We're really pleased to be bringing this back, and but it will only be as successful as the number of us who sign up and use it and encourage others to do so. So we're really leaning on all of you to have a look at that and get involved. Once you have your adopted legislator or 2 or 3, start making plans for next week to be in contact with them. Kind of covered that. An email, a phone call, setting up a Zoom, a conference call, doing some letter writing, whatever it is, all of the above. Please start making those plans. We want next week to be one that is, the halls are full of arts context, even though we are not there physically to do them. Caitlin Lamberson, who is on our board and also working with this committee, has pulled together a really great advocacy toolkit. We're going to look at it here very quickly. Many of you have already seen it because we've emailed it out. We're going to do that again. But it's a super resource for helping you with the tools that you'll need next week. We want you to be thinking about that 3-minute elevator speech, exactly what you're asking legislators to support. Kind of covered that a lot, but if you are able to get that Zoom call scheduled or a conference call, that's what you want to be thinking. How concise can you be using our legislative agenda? It's so important that we have all of you helping us amplify what MCA is doing with all of our social media posts. So please, 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 those of you that are on Facebook and Instagram, like and follow MCA and help us increase the numbers of people that are seeing those. And then, of course, stay in touch with your adopted legislators after next week. We are not going to let that list, that sign up list, be just about next week. We're going to be following up with ideas or messages that you can share with your adopted legislators. So stay tuned on that. Moving ahead. So I'm going to turn this over now so that we can have a look at this Adopt a Legislator sign up site.
Yes, so here is the Adopt a Legislator site. If you take a look at it, they have really nifty tabs at the top of the page. So for wherever you are residing in Missouri, whether it's the Northwest or Southwest, you will have a tab. So press your tab first, take a look down here, and you'll see all of the representatives. It's as easy as just checking a check mark next to the sign up, whoever you want to sign up, and filling in your name. Several people have done it on this page, including myself. It will send you a little reminder of which legislator you have adopted. And then, you know, we want you to make these meetings for next week for Missouri Arts Advocacy Week, but we'd like you to continue that relationship into the future. And then I'm going to pin Caitlin so she can explain a bit about the advocacy toolkit.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Lamberson, and I am a board member from St. Louis, Missouri. I also do a lot of our social media posts. So like Marie said, please try to reshare those, like them, just so we can boost our word to many more Missourians. So with this advocacy toolkit, it will go through and show you the schedule of the week. So it includes this training, making those meetings, as well as follow-up materials that we are going to provide for you guys to mail in. It also includes our advocacy agenda that kind of went over earlier, outlines that. It also gives some COVID-19 relief information from Americans for the Arts. Then it also goes through a few advocacy tips, which you can read through and just boost your day and help have a more successful meeting. It also shows our staff and board and our member organizations, which we are so thankful for.
Okay, now that we've taken some quick looks at that, let's go back to Marie.
Want to make a shout out quickly on the sign up genius to Leslie Forrester, former board member and director of Springfield Regional Arts Council, who helped us immensely in pulling that together. We don't want to disappoint Leslie after all that work and have an empty list. So everyone get out there, fill it up, and get all your friends to do the same. We are really excited to have an additional aspect this year. We will be mailing snail mail to all MCA members and all current MAC grantees. We're estimating this mailing is going to be right around the 600 mark. And so, thinking back to that sponsor list of our big week next week, the funds and in-kind support that we've received from those folks has been so important, especially for this mailing that we will be doing. So watch your mailboxes. You are going to be receiving 2 postage paid postcards that all you have to do is fill them out and send them back to your legislators. So we want to fill the mailboxes in the Capitol in the weeks following next week. So watch for that. And there's a couple of other fun little items that you will be receiving in that packet from MCA. We're really excited about that, and we hope that you will all participate. I'm going to turn it back to you, Kaina.
So did I mention you are the expert, and you are if you're registered to vote, you are a constituent of theirs. So I can walk into offices and talk to all of them, but when I bring in a registered voter to discuss issues with them, it makes a world of difference. So I can't tell you how important it is to sign up to vote and let them know that you live in their district. And if you're going to email them, I would suggest putting in the subject line, I'm a voter in your district, or I live in District 6, or whatever, that gives that extra reinforcement that you are from their district.
All right, well, we can't miss an opportunity to talk about how important our membership is to MCA. We simply cannot do what we do without our members. So we've got several pages here that we want to share with you so that you can see those agencies that are continuing to support MCA's work with their member dollars. Also, a big shout out to Wally Bloss, who's on the call with us. He's a former board member and former president of the board who continues to work with us extensively to maintain our membership. I know Wally really, really loves it when he goes to the post office box in Joplin and sees lots of things that have been mailed in that include checks. So let's help Wally out and make those trips to the mailbox eventful. If you didn't see your name on, or your organization's name on those screens that we went through, we want you to be a part of what we're doing. Even at the smallest level, it's big to us because it's how we continue to keep Kaina in the halls of Jefferson City and do things like Missouri Arts Advocacy Week. So please join us as an individual member and or as an organizational member.
Great, thanks, Marie. Okay, well, thank you all for being here today. Just by being here, you all advocated for the arts. You're being prepared for Missouri Arts Advocacy Week and into the future. Now I see there are several questions in the chat. I think that I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and just have us, if you want to put gallery view on, you may, so you can see all the other people that are here. It's always fun to see everyone. But I'm going to check the chat and we are going to have some question and answer. So let's take a look. There's one of the questions I have here is, should we only reach out to the representatives for our individual districts?
So I can take that. So a lot of arts organizations cover, let's say St. Charles, for example. Their organization may be situated in O'Fallon, but they draw from a community throughout St. Charles County and St. Louis County. I would say if you have a large client base that you could reach out to legislators around that area, that metro area, that would be fine. But just make sure that you definitely are reaching out to your state rep and your state senator where you live and where you work, because that's the key part. The key one is where you vote, actually.
Great. Another one I have is someone's wondering if the Senate bill for the Missouri Arts Council's budget has been established yet.
So appropriation bills do not have Senate bills. That's a very good question. The budget begins in the House and it follows the process from the House to the Senate. And so it keeps the same bill number, that House Bill 12. If you remember, for some of you that have been around a while, we used to be in House Bill 7 under the Department of Economic Development's budget, but we've been moved to the Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe's budget. So we're now under House Bill 12.
Okay. Let's see. I think, yep, you just answered someone else's question about the House Bill 12. Also, someone asks, how do I find the Adopt a Legislator sign up genius? I didn't see it on the website or Facebook page. That's a very good question. I'm going to plop that in. Well, let's see. Hopefully I can send this to all of you. I'll put it in the chat. It's a link directly to the sign up genius. Another question I have here is, I used to meet legislators by arranging to have them come off the floor for a brief talk. Is there a virtual way to do this, text or phone call?
So as I was saying earlier, this has really kind of changed the dynamics on how we communicate with our legislators. But I think probably during the time of COVID is to reach out to their office, one, and ask what they would prefer. But two, I've always said a site visit to your organization, museum, a performance is going to probably have the largest impact on a legislator when they can see firsthand what you're doing, or inviting them to a classroom if you're an arts educator, and then follow up and keep in contact with them. Some of them prefer phone. I know Senator Hageman, we've had a couple of Zoom calls with him, and I think he prefers phone call to a Zoom call. I don't think he feels comfortable on a Zoom call, but some of the younger legislators may prefer to do Zoom. So, and then some would probably just prefer to respond to you on email. So it really does depend on the legislator, but reach out to them and see what they like.
Great. I also wanted to let people know that the Sign Up Genius is in the chat, but it's also on our Facebook page and it's posted on the event page and the training event page. So if you can't find the chat, go to our Facebook, take a look around. I think we're going to take two more questions. One is, should we reach out to the Lieutenant Governor too?
Yes, I would definitely CC any of your correspondence with legislators to the Lieutenant Governor Kehoe's office. He's been a strong advocate for us, especially during the interim when we were working so hard to get CARES Act funding for arts programs. So it doesn't hurt to keep him in the loop. And also, if you want to copy the governor as well, that's not a bad idea either. Just keeping them informed of what you're funding and what the dollars are being spent on. So if they're in your area, please invite them to come by your office and do a site visit or a sit down and visit with you as well.
Okay, we're going to have one more question, and then I'm going to turn it back to Marie to say a few things about the Adopt a Legislator link. So the last question I have is, how can we make our meeting more impactful with local arts stories? What topics seem to resonate the most? Economic impact, children and youth, community collaborations, fiscal responsibility, what?
So once again, you're going to have to find that hot button. I know if it's a legislator who has small children, arts education is going to be a top priority, or programs like Metro Theater, that present to younger students or young audiences. If it's a chamber of commerce, there's a lot of bankers that were elected this year. They're clearly going to be more involved in the economic return to their community. So once again, you're going to have to find that hot button and, reach out to them. I would say the most impactful thing is if you have a newsletter or some type of email blast that goes out to your clients or your membership, don't hesitate to get a picture with your legislator and put that on the front page, because as you know, these folks are constantly running for office, and the more they're out in the community helping people like you, the better it is for them as well. So it's kind of a two-way street there. Get to know them, they get to know you, you help them, they help us. Hope that helps.
Yep, thanks, Kaina. All right, now Marie.
Okay, 2 final follow-ups. I'm so glad people are asking about the Sign Up Genius. I believe that Caitlin sent that out last week in one of our statewide emails. We will do that again. So if hopefully you're receiving MCA's newsletters. And so if you're not, you can go to the MCA website and sign up for them there. But Caitlin will have those out via email, and I'm sure she's also going to do some posts about them in social media. So watch for that there. One other thing to make you aware of that is really effective that Kaina has emphasized over the years is the list of grants in a particular legislator's district. We are working to get PDFs that include all grants in every individual legislator's district. We will be using our informational avenues for getting a link out to a box site that you will be able to go to and pull the list of grants for your legislator. And that's a really effective way. We will be mailing hard copies of those to all legislators the week after Missouri Arts Advocacy Week. So even if you're not able to go over that with them, MCA will be following up on that. Anything to add on that, Kaina?
No, I think you've covered it.
Okay, well, I think that concludes our training session for today. Thank you all for being here. Like we said, visit our website, mo4arts.org, if you need more information or if you have any additional questions. A recording of this will be on Facebook probably shortly in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But thanks for being here, and I hope that this has given you the tools to go into the world for Missouri Arts Advocacy Week, February 1st through 5th, and speak for the arts, because if we don't, nobody will. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Bye.